Good evening. The recent weeks have been filled by a streak of photos on social media that have only left Kenyans trying to decipher through optics. Photos of possible alliances. Normally, it would have been campaigns and raging tours across the country, leaders pledging their support to each other and denouncing their allies in front of huge rallies, shimmering in the cheers. However, that has been faltered by the coronavirus pandemic. On this 15th day of the month, barely 15 months to the next general elections, we wreck through the political field as we speak to Owino Martin Peters, the legislator of Ndiwe constituency and an ODM party member of parliament. We also speak to Gideon Gashara, Gitar member of parliament, Ndeye Ward in Kiambu County, where he is also the leader of the majority in the county assembly of Kiambu. And also to help us break down the details of the ongoing search for the next Chief Justice, we are joined by lawyer and political expert Nurdin Kagai. We, however, ask you a question of the day. Do you think a Ruto-Raila Alliance would win the presidency? Speak to us and share your feedback through our SMS line 111 on our WhatsApp number 0785939529 or on our social media handles of Switch TV Kenya at Lincoln Wambogo. Remember to use the hashtag TippingPoint so we could make this conversation as interactive as possible. My name is Lincoln Wambogo. Our sign language interpreters tonight are Michael Mathia and Teresia Washira. Earlier, we saw ODM party leader Wycliffe Oparanya, Deputy Party Leader Wycliffe Oparanya meet with Deputy President William Ruto, and days later he has been seen with ODM leader Raila Odinga together with President Kenyatta's brother Muhoho Kenyatta. What is cooking behind the closed kitchen doors? What alliance is shaping? To start off the show, however, we'll begin with this bite from presidential hopeful and Makueni Governor Kivutha Kibwana on his willingness to work with ODM leader Raila Odinga.
Kiongozi wa ODM Mheshimiwa Raila Odinga na mimi na kuna wengine vile vile tunafikiria kwa njia moja kulingana na kupeleka Kenya mbele, kwa tunataka kuwa na mabadiliko halisi, watu wapate nchi nzuri, nchi inaweza kuwasimamia vilivyo, na kwa hivyo kufanya kazi pamoja sio jambo ngumu, lakini nikaeleza kwamba kwa sababu nafanya kazi na watu wengi mpaka tukae pamoja tuulizane.
Gentlemen, thank you for creating time. Gashara, I'll start with you. Would you say that Raila Odinga is the most sought after politician in the country right now?
Thank you very much for hosting us. And Raila Odinga is somebody who is very well known in the politics of this country, and he has done a lot for this country. He has actually also vied for the presidency unsuccessfully for quite a number of times, and he is somebody who has a huge following. In fact, is somebody who you cannot ignore when it comes to matters of presidential election. So it's somebody whom a lot of people would be yearning to work with. But I'll tell you, we are entering a very interesting period. You know, as we are nearing the election, we are going to see alignment and realignment. So it can be a bit too early, because very few people have declared their candidature, and I know many more are coming.
Gashara, will you say yes or no? Would you say that Raila Odinga is the most sought after politician? Yes or no?
Not at all.
Not at all. Nurdin, same question. Do you think Raila Odinga is the most sought after politician in the country?
When you look at, before I answer your question, when you look at how things are right now, he is the hottest Galactico player, right? I know if you watch football, Galactico, Perez, Real Madrid, you know, the cream de la cream, right? So you see, Raila Odinga is, when you come to the history of Kenyan politics, his history is written and you can't change that. But now, those who are moving closer to him are doing so hoping that he doesn't vie and says person extortion. That is why you're seeing that. Because he also commands a constituency, his followers, you know, and you know he has some suicidal supporters, right? So some of them will be walking towards him to get the support. But I would say things are still too early, because at the end of the day, you see these dalliances and alliances, a formidable alliance will be seen 2 to 3 months to the election. I will tell you this because there was a time in 2002 he was with Nyachai, and he left him and went and formed NAC, you know. So right now, people will talk. People are talking. You see, people are talking. You can now see those from the DP side are talking well of Raila Odinga. Those from Raila Odinga side, some of them, not all, some of them are okay with the idea of them working together, because right now, you know, it's all about interest. And you know, politics is all about interest. So people will talk, but the final alliance will be seen 2 to 3 years, 3 months to an election. It's way too early. But as far as meeting, they'll have to meet. People
so you're saying that he's a more sought-after politician right now?
Right today he is, because you see everybody is trying to. It's more or less like the pilgrimage. Eh? So you see, the funny thing is, what happens is after the talks. What happens after the talks? Because, and I'll tell you for free, they say kwa Kiswahili, siasa hufanyika usiku, not mchana. Forget what you're seeing during the day and the photos. What happens at night is what really matters.
Peter Owino, do you think Raila Odinga, your party leader, is the most sought-after politician in the country? Peter Owino? Peter Owino, can you hear me? Peter Owino is Ndiwa Member of Parliament joining us on Zoom. Now, Gashara, has Raila, you know, maybe, do you think Raila has declared his interest in his own party?
Some time back, the ODM party, as a party, it opened a window for the people who want to contest.
And they closed that window?
And they, I'm informed that they closed that window. I'm not really sure, but I'm informed that they closed that window. And the only people who showed interest are 2. Governor for Kakamega and also governor for Mombasa. But let me say something, Lincoln. What we have been seeing, well, as politics, I know we can interpret otherwise. But I think also, it's also good to also know that Raila has been unwell. And we may not really know what actually transpired and what they were discussing until it is revealed. So to me, the perception and the interpretation I'm making is that probably they are going to see somebody who has been unwell. You know, we politicians, we may differ.
You think so?
We may differ in matters to do with their ideologies and policies. But again, we are friends. We call each other to check on how one is. So the fact that Raila has been unwell, I think some of these people like Gideon and the brother to Uhuru, probably they went to just check on how he is recovering.
Do you think that's the case? You know, we've seen so many photos surfacing on social media. Kenyans left, you know, without an option. They're just trying to decipher what is really going on. We see Gideon Moi. He's one of the principals, One Kenya Alliance. Do these photos mean something, Nordin?
You know, they say a photo is worth 1,000 words. Because the reason why they took the photo...
Just look at that photo.
That's what I'm saying. The reason why they took the photo, there has to be a reason. There's a message being sent somewhere. I'll tell you for free. You see, like he said, the leaders in Kenya are friends. And they call one another, they meet. They even ask, how is your family doing, how are your children doing, and whatnot. And he has been sick, so you cannot disregard the fact that some of them are just checking up on how he's doing. But in Kenya, nothing is a coincidence. Everything is planned. Everything is planned. Any meeting you see, any photos you see, it is all but a plan. So we are in for interesting times, and I don't think we should bombard ourselves with questions and suffer stress because tomorrow you'll wake up and see another photo, a different photo. So you'll ask yourself what is happening. That's why I'm saying for you to decipher anything, it's way too early. Way too early, because right now, any alliance formed right now, I'll tell you for free, it's not for an election. Because you see, the sad reality about Kenya, we form alliances or groupings to get power. So what power are you taking today? There's no power that is vacant. You know, there's a president. So at the end of the day, the formidable alliance, like I told you, Link, will be seen 2 to 3 months to an election.
Now, we have Musalia Mudavadi, one of the other principals of One Kenya Alliance, and this is what he had to say about, you know, Gideon Moi being seen together with Raila Odinga and Mohoho Kenyatta. Take a look.
Meeting that I was not party to. Perhaps they are discussing dowry. Maybe their children want to get married. For heaven's sake, what's wrong with us? I mean, we are pushing it too far. If we want to make a pronouncement about an alignment or whatever, I will speak publicly to it and say, we have been having consultations in the background. We have reached a stage where we want to make.
Should these photos mean something?
Not entirely. And you see, I would want to, compare football and also politics. You know, when you are playing against a team which you really fear, you have to also to be mentally fit and also come up with tactic which will also scare the opponent. I think at the moment, and that is why I agree with Wakiri, any serious alignment will come just few months toward the election. And even we have seen this in the past, 2012 and even 2002. So at the moment, I think they are, beside now meeting and checking on one another, there is also a message which is sent to the opponent, maybe to try and see or destabilize them. So, so we are going to see a lot of this. A lot of this, even on the other side, we are going to see. So that at least it is a mental now game to the opponent.
But it doesn't mean they're going to be discussing dowry. They're going to be discussing 2022. Don't you think if you're going to be seeing
Of
a lot
course,
of
when
them
you
now,
meet, there is a lot that we talk. Beside now the key agenda which brought us together, of course, you can have other issues which you can discuss. So I agree with him when he say, beside this, there can be something which can develop from this meeting.
Peter Owino. Peter Owino, can you hear me? Peter Owino is joining us on Zoom. He's the Member of Parliament. Peter Owino, do you think, has Raila, because you're an ODM member, do you think has Raila Odinga declared that he's going to vie for the presidency camp 2022? To you as his members?
Yeah, one thing I know for sure, that Raila is a candidate for 2022. There's no doubt about that. And I have heard other panelists talking, which is okay. It's rather too early, and I pity the political novices, because there will be a lot of talks here and there, realigning here and there, and they will be confused. And that's for sure. For those who have not been reading politics with skills, that can be confusing. But I can tell you for free that Raila will be on the ballot, and there are only two centerpins here, whether we like it or not, and that is William Ruto and Raila Odinga. Now, it will depend on how President Uhuru plays his card. From the reading from other quarters, testing water or studying the waves for too long might end up sweeping him aside and making no decision at all on the direction people should take. But for sure, Raila is on. The issue of health should not be considered here, because you never know. He has done his round on COVID. You never know who will be next. So that is not it's not a hindrance. As for the photo which was there, I think there are three messages, if you allow me to say. Message number one is out of mentorship. You remember when Moi was sick, Raila went to see Moi, and Gideon was on hand to welcome him. And remember, Moi detained Raila without trial and tortured him. So there was a right mentorship there on forgiveness and clean heart in politics. So when Raila was sick, I think Gideon had obligation just to do the same. And that's why I call it mentorship. As for Muhoho, there's close ties between the Odinga's family and Kenyatta. So even if there were some differences in politics, I think it was just okay to go and see. But also, you cannot rule out politics. Now, and how are you say? Then they get into politics. So these realignments are early shots of what will be coming, but the real realignment will come is 6 months to the election. That is when you will see serious realignment, and also after BBI. There's nothing, I understand, I don't know whether it was one of the panelists who said that things do not go around Raila. Wait and see, really. It's not a mistake that Raila is called Agwambo, Tinga, Jacom, Wadgakinyi, Lego. All these things are earned. It's just given because of who he
Peter,
is.
now that Raila Odinga is called Tinga, and you opened a window for candidates who want to vie for presidency under ODM, and you closed that window, do you mean that Tinga is going to bulldoze his way? Or is he going to vie with another, flying another party's ticket? Is he going to bulldoze his way?
He's allowed to bulldoze his way within the party. That's democratic, right? So how you play your politics gives you or earns you those names. Like Magafuli, they were calling him bulldozer.
See, ODM.
You know how you play politics earns you the name. You don't even tell people to call me so and so, but how you conduct yourself. Remember, Raila was born in a political home, yes, but he bulldozed his way as a person. There was no handover from a father, God's father, political godfather to him. Like the rest, you can be sure Moi handed over in one way, like a political father to Kenyatta. Mudavadi, the father of, he was called Mudamba, was very close to Moi, handed over a mentorship to his son. His son did not come through political waves. Now, if one of the alliances, or One Kenya Alliance, wants to be fathered into politics or by Uhuru, that will not work, really. 2022 is very different. You have to tinker your way to success.
Peter Gashara, do you think there's any party democracy in ODM?
I'm actually just, worried by the sentiment of Mheshimiwa that indeed Raila is going to bulldoze his way. In fact, that is why some pundits normally say that, some of these parties are owned by individuals. Mm-hmm. If that is the case, I can also categorically say that Raila owns ODM, because in a mature, democracy, that window is closed. In fact, now the people who should be competing are Honorable Oparanya and Honorable Joho, because the window, they are themselves who set that window. And Raila, being a party leader, knew very well if indeed he needs to contest, he needs to comply. So if indeed he's going to bulldoze, there is no party democracy at all. In fact, what they are going to do, they are going to lose a lot of now members. In fact, if I were Joho or Oparanya and hear that, I'll start now, checking on other means on how to extend my ambition.
If whatever Peter Wino is talking about is true, what precedence does this set for parties in this country?
After what he just said, it is clear. Raila Amolo Odinga is ODM, and ODM is Raila Amolo Odinga. So, if you have tendered an application to become the flag bearer, you have wasted 1 million shillings and you have wasted your time. Why do I say this? Because at the end of the day, the last time I checked the constitution of ODM, if I'm not wrong, the party leader is the official flag bearer. And ODM takes its politics, or it follows the principles and values of the party leader. In this case, it follows Raila Amolo Odinga. And it just got confirmed. So what Joho and Oparanya are waiting for is the whistle. Let me tell you, it is the. I sat here the other day with you, and I told you, Kangata's whims and cries are him going to UDA. True or false? It came to be. Now, what Joho and Oparanya are trying to do, they are looking for a way out. To show that I tried, I couldn't get it, so I might as well join another party. For Joho, whatever they're doing with Kingi, the formation of the political party in Coast, they are looking for it, because How do you leave Raila Molo Odinga if you're Joe? You are going to be branded with the term mole, and you know in ODM when they call you a mole, you are as good as gone. It got, the name mole was put on Ababu Namamba. Where is he? And the rest who were in ODM. So where we are right now, it's a sad reality, and as he says, political parties in Kenya are owned by individuals. And that is why you see anything in Jubilee, reshuffles can happen if the president wants. You will be removed today, somebody else will be brought in there. If you're in ODM, the same thing. Wiper, the same thing. ANC, the same thing. So we need to move from that and form institutions. You know, that is the only way politics will mature. Because at the end of the day, if, for example, this party follows my principles and values, what if I die? The party is dead.
What happens? Do you think a Ruto-Raila Alliance would win them the presidency? Do you think a Ruto-Raila Alliance would win them the presidency? Send in your feedback to our SMS line 111 444 111 at Switch TV Kenya on Twitter, Facebook, and at Lincoln Wumbogo. We now take a short commercial break. Stay tuned. The conversation continues shortly. Welcome back and thank you for keeping it Switch TV. You're watching TippingPoint. I'm Lincoln Wumbogo. Our sign language interpreters tonight are Michael Matthew and Teresia Washira. My guest tonight, Peter Winondiwa, Member of Parliament, joining us on Zoom, Gideon Gashara, Kiambu Majority Leader in the County Assembly, and Nurdin Kagai, a lawyer. Now, earlier on we had asked, do you think a Ruto-Raila Alliance would win them the presidency? Do you think a Ruto-Raila Alliance would win them the presidency? SMSs on 111 444 111 at Twitter, Switch TV Kenya, Lincoln Wumbogo. Make this as interactive as possible. Now, Gashara, here we are. Peter Wino says Raila is going to bulldoze his way. He's going to be the flag bearer of ODM come 2022. Is Mudavadi right in writing off Raila Odinga?
Oh, I said Raila is somebody you cannot ignore in the politics of Kenya. He may not ultimately win an election, but he'll give you a run of your money. As we have witnessed in the recent or the past election. So you cannot really write off, you cannot ignore him, but if he expects to win, he has to work extra hand because time have changed. He is also, you know, the age is also catching with him, and he is also somehow losing his support base in some region. So he really have to work extra hand if he want to become the president.
So Mudavadi is wrong in writing off Raila.
I wouldn't want in or expect in a competition to underestimate anybody. You cannot really underestimate anybody.
One Kenya Alliance, Kalonzo Musyoka, Moses Wetangula, we have now Mudavadi, Gideon Moi. Do you think Mudavadi is going to be the flag bearer?
You know, in being a flag bearer, there are so many things you're going to look into. One, who has the financial muscle to have to run a presidential campaign?
According to you, who's that?
Obviously, we all know that.
Who?
It's Moi's son, obviously, out of the four.
Yeah. So Gideon has the money.
No, wait.
Second factor.
I haven't finished. And then, who commands a larger following? So you have to check.
And who's that, according to you?
Now that's hard. Now, listen. But you see, what they all lack is one thing. Out of the four, there's something both Raila and Ruto have. One, they have huge following. Two, they have the art of mobilization. Those four don't have that. And then three, they're charismatic. You know, when you call for a rally, when people show up, what are you saying? Because they can show up. You can pay them to come, but paying doesn't mean they're going to vote for you. You see? So you need the followers that Raila and Ruto have, my friend, compared to what, okay, some are saying they're state-sponsored and what have you. Even if the state sponsored a rally for you and paid people, a 500 shilling note is not equivalent to a vote. People will eat your money and go vote elsewhere. You see, like you had the DP saying the other day, people in Western wamzoea maendeleo wanamwita kura wanapatia Raila, you know. So you see, politics is interesting. I don't think that is the final group. or rather the final outlook, like the four of them. You see, if post-BBI, like he said, post-BBI is when you load the formations. And post-BBI, you have 5 slots at the top of the table. How you arrange those 5 slots is the winning team, sadly.
No, according to what you've just said, do you think one Kenya Alliance is going to last till 2022?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Because it's all about personal interest. What is it in for Moi, for Wetangula, for Musalia, for Kalonzo? I told you this. Raila, Nyachae had an agreement. Before Nyachae knew, Raila was with Kibaki. It's all about interest. You see, when you look into politics, like for example, you talked about the Ruto Raila. When you look at it on paper, it's a winning team.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that, Nordin. Peter Owino. Peter Owino, if you can get me. Peter Owino is the Member of Parliament joining us on Zoom. Peter Owino, ODM leader Raila Odinga, your party leader, was together with Moses Wetangula, Kalonzo Musyoka and Musalia Mudavadi. Now they have left Raila Odinga and made one Kenya Alliance, and now they have added Gideon Moi to the flag bearers, to the what do you call them, Nordin?
What?
They've added
to coalition partners.
To the coalition partners.
Yeah.
Do you feel left out? Does ODM feel left out in all this?
Thing, when you are a father and children are playing in the rain and there is no storm, you let them play. These are mentees of Raila Amolo Odinga. When the storm will gather and start beating, they will come running home. Now, people are talking of one Kenya Alliance. Who are they? Do they even have a backbone without an umbrella? It can work. There are people we know how came to politics. They have village following, but they don't have any national outlook. The 2 of them have been vice presidents. Let me take it from me. Once you are a vice president for a president for some time, 1 term or 2 terms, and you don't succeed that person, chances are almost nil for you to be a president later. So Kalonzo and Mudavadi out. They should come back to Raila as soon as possible to remain. Now, as for the age, I heard about the age there. I had a chance to live in the US. Reagan claimed the presidency as 80. And now my friend Joe Biden was 78. Raila is only 72. That's a prime age for presidency. So let us put it like this. This one Kenya Alliance have no backbone. It's spineless. It's just having conversation the way Mudavadi says it. Now, after BBI, when Raila hits the ground, maybe Ruto hits the ground, that is when you will see the alliances forming up. Right now, people are talking. And that's why I said it will be very difficult for political novices to know which direction are we going. But it will be clear when these 2 giants take the stage. And lastly, on this, to your question, I didn't get it quite clearly when you said Ruto Raila alliances, whether you meant Ruto forming an alliance there, Raila on this side, or the 2 coming together. But let it be when it is. I think Raila Alliance will be very huge, and maybe Ruto can do another one, and we will have 2 horses in this race.
We have just, Ruto and Raila.
Say that again?
Can't we have Ruto and Raila coming together? Haven't you had any discussions on Ruto? Ruto has had discussions on working with Raila. He has said that he can work with Raila Odinga. Can't Raila Odinga work with William Ruto?
When you say somebody can work with somebody without defining how they are going to work, is relative. But what I know, as it is now, it is going to be very difficult for the 2 to work together as one president and another one deputy president. It's not going to work. That's a myth. They have not even talked about it. When Oparanya made that visit, I think it was an individual kind of visit. which is allowed within the democratic space in ODM. ODM is not dictatorship. I mean, even when I say Raila will think his way, he did it in 2017, 2013, and he beat them within the circle of ODM. So it's how you bulldoze your politics, not how you dictate the political atmosphere for others.
Your party leader wants to deputize William Ruto.
Hey.
Can never work, will never happen.
Is the one going to take the road deal?
Can't.
That one is dead on arrival. In fact, they can work in another way. If Ruto accepts to be a prime minister, then that can work.
Thank you.
But do you think Raila Amolo Odinga would be deputy for William Ruto?
Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Peter. Gashara, do you think Raila Odinga can deputize William Ruto?
I think on that one, I really agree with Mheshimiwa. These are two people who cannot form a coalition.
A coalition.
Because one, they enjoy a huge support. Two, anybody can go on his own. They really don't require any other. So I'm very sure that each of them will go on his own. That one I'm very sure.
Ruto and Raila no coming together.
Nah, they won't come
It
together.
won't work.
It won't work.
Dudin, according to the law, because you're a lawyer, can William Ruto become deputy president again?
NO.
For that time?
No. Let me tell you something.
No option.
Let me tell you something. You see, that alliance, when you say it sounds sweet, but there are three things. Practicability, interests, and arrangements. And then there's something so huge you're forgetting.
Ego.
Ego management.
Yes.
How do you manage that ego? Because how are you going to tell William Ruto, go to Sugoi, become an MP, become prime minister with 600 members of parliament, from being deputy president, not vice president, deputy president. It can't work. So, and then when these two come together, even if you use the BBI, if they come together and they run against a different coalition, what's the point for an election? It's way too strong. It's like when you're in school and you're told, go and play, it's PE time. Then you're told, Link, choose your team, and you choose all the best players in your class, and then you leave the rest. What kind of a game are you playing? You know, practicability, interest-wise, ego management-wise, it can never work. It will never. You know, they say no permanent enemies, but this is not about enemies. It's all about practicability. It's hard on paper because someone has to swallow his pride, and you look at the both of them, who looks like doing that?
Nobody.
Can Ruto handle Raila as a competitor?
I think at the moment, if you even do a survey, I think Ruto is unfortunately, is a bit ahead of Raila at the moment. He's enjoying a read.
Where? Because I don't think it's Nyanza. What regions?
Almost in every region. Almost in every region. He's enjoying a read at the moment. Unfortunately, and I'm saying unfortunately.
In Kiambu?
Yeah, somehow also in Kiambu. I really also at the moment don't support his candidature, his presidency. I also don't support Raila, presidency. But unfortunately, at the moment, Ruto is enjoying some form of
I thought the bromance between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga would maybe secure Raila Odinga something in Mount Kenya.
And I think that is a fallacy and a misconception. You know, the fact that they have come together, and to fight and to champion for the BBI does not mean that he is being groomed for the presidency. That is not part of our agreement. But on BBI, we are together. But on presidency, I have my own views. My people have their own views. And part of those views is not to support Raila to become the president of this republic.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nordin,
Yeah.
we haven't seen anyone from Mount Kenya region stand and say, I want to become the next president. I want to become the 5th president of the Republic of Kenya. How will Mount Kenya shape 2022 politics?
You know, as we said, it might be early, but let me play the devil's advocate. Maybe courtesy of the BBI. I'm sure, you remember when the president was in Sagana, he said, pitisha hii kitu, mambo ya succession and whoever, niachie. Those were his words. So obviously, there are things that are in play because it's a region that has a lot of followers, So obviously they will try and find a way to cushion him not being in power. Now, the sad reality is that, you see, we have reduced our politics to photos, meetings, alliances. We're not discussing patent issues. Let me give you an example. How I wish these photos and these meetings that are happening during the day and at night were to talk about the state of the economy. How I wish they're talking about how to cushion the people under this pandemic. Right now, when you go to buy groceries, it's like a luxury for you. I wish we have moved away from the patent issues in Kenya. And we're busy talking about alliances. We're busy talking about formations. The sad reality is that politics is everywhere, even in your marriage, at work, and everywhere. But we need leaders with a vision. You see, the next president of Kenya, whoever he or, let me be gender sensitive. I don't want to be accused here. He or she, just in case, he or she will be the president, has to tell us what they are going to do to revive and resuscitate the economy that is dead. It is dead. You see, our economy is a terrorist economy, full of bandits who are purported leaders that have killed the economy through water and corruption. So what are you going to do to resuscitate the economy? What are you going to do to settle the debts? Those are the questions we need to have. When someone says, oh, LBCD is meeting, I want to cry, why are you crying? Also, you can also meet, but tell us, out of your meeting, what important issues have you come up to frame how you're going to cushion the lives of the people? People are suffering. Some are even killing themselves because there's no hope.
True.
At the end of the day. So what we need to bring at the forefront is service delivered to the people and to protect the people from what we're having. Because at the end of the day, when you steal and then put taxes on the masses who had no interest or they didn't enjoy anything that you stole, where are we going as a country? That's why I say we have a bandist economy made of terrorist leaders.
Oh my, Gashara, you're a leader. I think he just called you a terrorist. Do you call Gashara a terrorist?
I said terrorist. Let me rephrase that. Terrorist economy with bandist leaders.
NMS and the Nairobi County Assembly are at loggerheads once again. Now, this time it's over the accountability of 29 billion shillings. NMS say they only answer to the president. Should the Nairobi County Assembly play oversight on NMS?
Definitely yes, because as an elected MCA, you have three, roles. First of all, the first one is to represent, the second one is to oversight, and the other one is to registrate. And that is the mandate which actually covers the entire county. So, regardless of who is, reading the county, be it NMS or even the county government itself, they have to be, to respond to issues, to the county assembly. So the assembly has all the right to oversight and to ask the question, because in the operation of a county, we have two arms of the government. We have the executives and we have the other wing, which is the assembly, and they work independently and interdependently. They really have to work together so that they have to deliver to the people who elected them. So there is no way NMS can claim that they have to respond to the president. First of all, they have to be answerable to the assembly, because the assembly is the one which oversight the executive.
Thank you, Commissioner. Thank you. Peter Wino. Now, the MCAs, most of them from ODM, claim that the acting governor, Anne Kananu, is sleeping on her job. Now, today, the acting governor, Anne Kananu, went to Raila's home bearing gifts. Peter Wino, why now? Why go to Raila now?
The gifts are good. Wazis need to be visited to rejuvenate them. Remember, Raila just came from this agony, so that's okay. Let us not read too much into that. But for the Nairobi county is messed up. We know they are now doing good delivery in work, but the oversight is nil. So when you bring these two levels of government together without good structure, that's what happened. It needs to be cleaned up. I'm sorry, it may not be done now, but we need to get this done in the next election, or we need to revise it legislatively whether it will become a metropolitan and not a county and be run like Washington, D.C. is being run, that is an option. But having the two together, one, you take essential services you give to a department which reports to the president, and you leave the county assembly there without a say, because for you to have a say, you have to have resources under your foot. And that's not happening now. So it's a mess up. But for the acting governor to see Jacom, that is human and that is African. Now, let me go back to what my fellow friends said. I know the lawyer there is frustrated about ideology or ideological politics. It's never easy, even in mature democracies. You remember Trump said, "I will make America again." And he repeated until he went into the heads of the followers. And he left America even worse than Obama put it. So what we really need in politics is somebody who can spine up, somebody who can stand for Kenyans and doesn't tolerate corruption and take the bull by the horns. If it's a matter of selling ideas, or I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, Jubilee did it. And they promised so many things. Did they deliver? No. 2 billion theft a day, if I can quote the president. You can't do anything. So what Kenya really needs is a person like Raila-Ruto who can do those things, so to speak. And if you mess up, you are cleaned up.
Peter, a section of Kenyans are of the opinion that if Raila-Odinga was still playing opposition, his opposition role, we wouldn't be where we are now economically. But unfortunately, Raila-Odinga is not playing that role. Nordin,
Yeah.
NMS and Nairobi County Assembly, is this ever going to end?
You see, the sad
This
reality
tug of
is
war?
like, as he just told you. You see, the most lucrative or jobs with the NMS, and then you see how are the members of the county assembly going to question the president? Because you see, Badi obviously can't appear before them, or he won't. He says, I get my appointed authority from the president. And you see, that takes away the sovereignty of the people. Mm-hmm. Because you see, members of county assembly have been delegated powers by the people to represent them. So there are questions we'll ask them as someone who votes in Nairobi and who lives in Nairobi. I'll have questions. ABC is not happening, why not? And they can't answer me because the powers that they have are there under the constitution, but they can't exercise them, sadly, courtesy of the agreement we have. So I believe what we're going to see is nothing, because once the issue of the budget comes, that is when you'll see drama. This is nothing. You see Nairobi County, we've been occasion of drama since 2017, since Sonko was governor. Mm-hmm. You see, it has been like a music festival. Every day it's something new, guns, what have you. So I'm telling you, if this is not resolved, once the budget is brought before the House, or is actually being made, the things that you'll see are just sad. And you see, the idea of trying to make Nairobi metropolitan, like he says,
it's not working.
Some people will have issues with that. Some of the reasons they'll say, we want our county.
Actually, we require a clear formation, whether it is a county government or it is a municipal. So that we are not confused. Because in an ideal situation, like in our case, we have a governor who is the head of the county, and we oversight his executive. But in Nairobi, it is not very clear. Although we have a standing order and we have the County Government Act, which actually give us permission to we can invite and we can summon.
These are your final thoughts.
And we can actually summon anybody, regardless of the position he occupies, because we exercise powers and privileges equal to the High Court. So I think the Director General should swallow his pride and accept to be questioned by the Assembly.
Thank you, Gashara. Nordin, the search for the next CJ is ongoing.
Yeah.
Even after a new CJ takes office, do you think the judiciary will be independent?
First and foremost, we need a progressive, independent, accountable
final thoughts
CJ with cognitive and personal skills. You see, what we want, the judiciary needs to have a backbone. It shouldn't be. You see, sad reality is that the executive currently controls the executive and parliament. We can't have them control judiciary as well, because once that happens, there's no country. We need the judiciary to be firm. We need a judiciary that is independent, a judiciary that is ready to make decisions irrespective of how they will be taken, so long as they follow the law. Now, if I may say something, the MP said, I'm frustrated. All I will say is that a time will come when the king of the jungle will become prey. Power fades and it's not permanent. And I believe the voter needs to wake up and take back the power.
The voter needs to wake up and take
up
back the power
that they have relinquished.
Hold that thought there. Thank you, Peter Owino, for gracing this show. Thank you, Gasharo. Thank you, Doreen. Thank you for watching. Now, on our political quote of the day: politics ought to be the part-time profession of every citizen who will protect the rights and privileges of free people and who will preserve what is good and fruitful in our national heritage. By Dwight D. Eisenhower. Now, all the views described in the show are strictly individual views and do not portray the views of Switch TV. I am Lincoln Ombogo. Our sign language interpreters have been Michael Maithia and Teresia Washiro. The conversation continues next Thursday. Good evening.